Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today is day 7 of my 15 days of beauty. This is where I will be uploading a video every single day for 15 days straight here in the month of December. If you guys have not checked out the previous days, I will link the playlist down in the description box down below. I've shared some of my favorites for the year, my least favorites. It's been really fun. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Today's video is going to be a review update video. I want to do more update videos. I want to try to do them about every 2 to 3 months. So today we're going to go through several of the products that I have recently reviewed and share my thoughts with you and let you guys know if my opinion has changed or if it's remained the same. So I have a lot of products sitting out here. I was going through my videos and I was pulling them out and I was like, wow, there's a lot here. So I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet, and we're going to jump into it. So we're going to start with the holiday collection from Chantecaille. They launched 2 other products that I didn't pick up. These are the 2 products that I grabbed. So this is the Lotus Blossom Radiant Blush, and I also grabbed the Lip Crystal in Pink Opal. They had like an illuminizing powder and like a glow powder or something. I don't know. I didn't grab those. My feelings have not changed. In fact, they've probably gotten worse. So I've used this 2 other times and it is a complete waste of cute packaging. And I've said that about the Chantecaille Cougar palette. And that is how I feel about this. It's straight up shimmer, you guys. It's too shimmery for the face. Like, I don't know anybody that would want to put this on their face. I can't figure it out, and you can't see it. You pretty much have to have like fair, light, medium skin in order for this blush to work. It looks dark in the pan. It is so light. So number 1, you have to have the right complexion. But number 2, it's so shimmery that I just do not like the way that it looks. I've tried it as a blush topper and it completely ruined my makeup. And I think they just completely missed the mark with this one, and they wasted such cute packaging, and they could have launched something really cute and really special, and they missed the mark. This packaging kind of feels springy to me anyway, but that's here nor there. The Lip Crystal, I don't like this. It's still just not my favorite product. And again, there's hardly anything there. It's like it kind of disappears. And it doesn't really add that shimmer, because I kind of like the frosty lipstick. Once in a while, I like that look. And that was what I was really hoping this was going to be. Something that you could put over top of something and kind of give it a little bit of that shimmer. For me, based on these 2 products, the Chantecaille Holiday Collection, not worth the money. Let's move on to this holiday collection from Dior. Now, even though I didn't have the best experience with the Chantecaille one, this, on the other hand, I still really love. I probably love the blush and the lipstick the most. That's what I've used the most since I reviewed it. This is the limited edition Rouge Blush, and I love this. It is so beautiful. It kind of does remind me of the Gucci blushes, the way that it applies. It kind of gives a little bit of radiance, but it's not too much for the cheek. It's such a gorgeous blush. I love this blush. Oh my gosh, do I love it. It's so pretty. I've worn it several times. I also really love the lipstick. I'm actually wearing the lipstick right now. So this is in the shade 471 Enchanted Pink, and I love this lipstick. It's kind of that real pretty salmon pink. Beautiful shade. I used this one the other day, and it was such a gorgeous eye look. And I kind of deepened I kind of had this same shape, but I used these colors, and it's a really beautiful palette. Now, being fully transparent, I haven't used the other one since I reviewed it, this one right here. I haven't picked this one up yet, but it's still such a gorgeous palette. It's really light though. This palette doesn't really have a lot of depth, and it's really kind of soft on the eye. You kind of have to know that before spending the money on it. It's not really what you think it's gonna be. It's not like super pigmented. It's not a Pat McGrath. It's not a Natasha Denona, right? Where it's like what I'm wearing right now is Pat McGrath. It is the Bridgerton palette. Oh, it's that really pretty rose gold. I saw Andrea Ali upload a video the other day and I just was like, gosh, I need to use that shade. And so it was one of her shorts that she uploaded recently. Anyway, those are really pretty and I still really enjoy those. Okay, let's talk about the Nars holiday collection. So I still really enjoy this palette. I've used this palette several times and I really love the tones and textures in here. It's such a beautiful gray. It's not like a weird, ugly gray. There's something about grays that they have to be the right tone. And this is definitely the right tone, but I love all of the shades in here. And this is probably one of my more favorite launches from Nars as far as eyeshadow palettes go. I've used it several times since I reviewed it and really enjoy it. Now the face palette, I don't really love it. This is like one of their baked formulas and I've used different brushes with it. And yes, it does seem like a natural hair brush works a little bit better than a synthetic brush. But overall, I don't really love this palette. It's not my favorite. I don't know. I have so many single blushes that I love that I'm just not really reaching for this all that much. And I have other face palettes and stuff like that that I use over this, right? And so I still would pass on this. Okay. Let's talk about this palette from Huda Beauty. I still love this palette. This, in my opinion, is one of her better palettes, and I love the cream shadows in here. I think she did a phenomenal job. It's got so many textures, and that's what I really like about this palette is it offers everything that you need kind of all in one. And yes, I know that we get that from like the Patrick Ta palettes, but I don't think Patrick Ta palettes have these special shimmers, right? Like these are absolutely gorgeous on the eye. And every single solitary time I've used this palette, I've always loved my eyeshadow look. And it's just one of those easy, yet very buttery. The mattes are blendable, buildable, just a gorgeous, like well done. It's a 10 out of a 10 palette in my opinion. Okay, next up, speaking of Patrick Ta, let's just talk about this. This was in my least favorites of 2021. And like I mentioned in that video, this is starting to stink. I don't know what has made it smell funky, but it smells like, you know how lipstick will smell when it's old? That's how this smells. Like it has that old lipstick smell. I don't love the smell of it. But anyway, regardless of it being stank, it is just not a good palette. Every time I've used these powder blushes, they are really powdery and they're so thick and chunky and they kind of ruin my makeup like every time. The cream shadows, I mean, they're just, I don't know what he did to this palette. Like, I don't know why they changed the formula because he has some of the best powder and cream formulas, especially layered on top of themselves. They're gorgeous. I don't know what happened with this, but this just like, that's not it. That palette is bad. I think I'll keep it for swatching purposes for next year and stuff, but I don't ever plan to use this again. It's just one of those bad palettes that I don't understand why he did that. Not a very good decision on his part. We're gonna quickly talk about the Rose Metals palette from Anastasia. I still really enjoy this palette. Love it. Gorgeous. 5 out of a 5. Even though the Nouveau palette is still my absolute favorite from ABH, this is still a really nice option. And I think it provides a little bit more depth than that palette does. So this is just a really beautiful palette. Very soft textures, very kind of everyday, but really, really pretty at the same time. So well done on this. They did a good job. I still really enjoy this palette. Let's quickly talk about these from Tom Ford. So these are the new Shade and Illuminate contour duos. And I absolutely love this. So this is Intensity 1 and I love it. Absolutely love it. I've been using it as a bronzer, not really a contour because it is a little bit warm, especially as I blend it out. But gosh, it is so pretty and so natural, and it kind of has that creamy texture to it. Just a really good formula, blends and kind of melts into the skin, super easy to use, fuss proof, right? It's one of those that you can apply it, blend it out really easily, and you don't really have to think your way through it. It's just a great product. It really is. Speaking of Tom Ford, let's talk about the new cream quads. So this is the Violet Satine and the Velours Kaki. I'm going to start with the Violet Satine. Such a beautiful palette. These blend beautifully. In fact, I grabbed this today to add here on my outer corner. I was just kind of playing around. I mixed like 3 palettes today. I have the Lisa Eldridge Muse palette in the crease, and I put the Pat McGrath Bridgerton palette here on the lid. And yeah, I was just kind of grabbing all the things to make it work. But anyway, I really do love the cream formulas from Tom Ford. They're really easy to blend and kind of no fuss. And I love having this dark purple that I can grab when I am wanting something to give me depth but easy to blend. And this purple is so gorgeous. Now this shade I could live without. I could. It's not my favorite, but I love the other 3 shades, so I kind of look over it, but it's just not that pretty in my opinion. But I do really love these 3 shades. Do I fully recommend it? I don't know. It's a very expensive palette to not love every shade. So you know, it's one of those that you'd have to decide if that lighter shade is something that you would be okay with being not very pretty and sparkly. I think if you don't really like a lot of sparkle, you might really enjoy it. If you do want a little bit more of an impact, then this is going to be a dud for you. So I think that's what it boils down to. Now, the Velours Kaki, I do not like this palette. The more I keep using it, I think I've used it twice since I reviewed it, and gosh, I struggled. It was so ridiculous how much I had to work to make this work, and this was the palette that I was most excited about, and it's just not that pretty, and like, my feelings are the same. I have to use this palette with other palettes in order to make it work, and this shade is just way too light, and these 2 shades are way too similar. They didn't get it right on the Velours Kaki, and that was the palette I was most excited about, and I don't think I'll be using this ever again. Times that I've tried to make it work, I have to grab from other palettes to kind of incorporate with this, and I end up using other shades that I like better and kind of covering up what I used in this. That's kind of what ends up happening. So not my favorite. Let's quickly talk about these face palettes from Charlotte Tilbury. So this was her holiday launch. I just don't love these, you guys. I'm sorry, but I don't love these at all whatsoever. Like, I really wish she would have came out with something different than this. I just don't love them. I don't know what it is, but I don't like this baked formula that she has here in these palettes, and they're just a big disappointment. When we know that she can do better, I just don't love them. I'm sorry. They're just not my favorite. I know that a lot of people loved these, so that's just my personal opinion. I guess when it comes to holiday, I was expecting something a little bit better. The more that I use it, the less I like it. So there you go. Let's jump into the Tarte Maneater palette. Yeah, I still don't like this palette. I still don't like it. There's a lot of duds in this palette, and even though there's a ton of shades, there's like too many shades of the same, and I think the only thing that makes this palette attractive is some of those foiled looks, like some of these embossings. Other than that, I'm just like, wah, wah, wah. Yeah, no. This is not my favorite from Tarte. What can you do? There you go. All right, let's talk about the Ethereal Eyes from Makeup by Mario. So in my review, I liked this palette, even though I had to be very, very careful with the shade because these are more powdery pigments as far as the matte goes. And if you're going in with some of these shades and you go in with the shade to buff it out, it will completely like cover up what you did because it's so pigmented. I like this palette. And I really like these ethereal top coats. They're really beautiful. I still stand by what I said. I think it's overpriced. And I think the reason for that is because Makeup by Mario, I guess, is just not quite, in my opinion, luxury. He's kind of in that middle tier. And I think that's where my mind was coming from, right? Like, I don't know. Again, makeup is all subjective, right? And I know that many of you were upset with me for saying that it was overpriced, and I completely respect your opinion on it because I'm always open to hear everyone's opinion, right? Because makeup is just so subjective and that we don't always have to agree, and it's fine. Like, I love having an open dialogue where everybody is free to have their own opinion, and especially when it differs from mine. Like, I say that all the time. So I know a lot of you guys disagreed with me on that, and I completely respect it. For me, just on a personal level, regardless of the price, I do like this palette. I do. I think if you pick it up or you've picked it up, I think you're probably getting a good use out of it because these tones are very easy to wear. And these ethereal shades are really beautiful. So there's my thoughts on that. Let's talk about this new concealer from Chanel. So this is the Sublimage Correcteur. I really, really like this concealer. It's a really beautiful, kind of soft concealer. Is it fully worth the money? I feel like it's only worth the money if skincare ingredients are important to you, especially on the under eyes. It kind of gives you the best of both worlds because it is from the Sublimage line. It has the Sublimage skincare ingredients in the concealer. So you're kind of getting the best of both worlds. You're getting good skincare along with a corrector to kind of cover up your under eyes. So I can see that this is a really good product for a lot of people. If you don't really care about skincare ingredients and you just want a really good concealer that maybe has hyaluronic acid and, you know, then stick with something like Charlotte Tilbury or whatever. But I do really like this concealer. I do. I have to admit. And I like to wear it on those days where I'm not wearing a lot of makeup. And I kind of just take a dot of it and like dab it in and really blend it in with my finger. That's kind of my preferred way to apply it, but it is really pretty. I have to admit, it's pricey as hell, but it's pretty. Speaking of that, I did pick up this. This is the Sublimage Cream Foundation. And now they never had my right shade. They recently launched some warm shades, I think some cool shades as well. They only just had the beige shades, and beige does not look good on me at all. Anything with just B from Chanel, it is a no-go. I've learned that lesson. But this is the Beige Durée, which is their warm tone. It's 41 Beige Durée. So I did pick this up. I have not had a chance to use it yet. Let me know if you guys want me to do a review on this. Let me know if you guys are curious, because I'll definitely film that review if you guys are. Let's talk about these palettes from Lisa Eldridge. I know that I just reviewed them. I took a week off during Thanksgiving holiday, and the two palettes that I used the entire week I was off was the Cinnabar and the Vega. And the reason why I used the Cinnabar is because I was using this shade right here, and I like to just throw it in the crease and kind of blend it into my outer corner. It kind of gives a little bit of contour on the eye. Like I mentioned earlier, I used Muse today. I used this shade in my crease. I just love the cream formulas. And you guys, I feel a pattern coming because, like I mentioned in my top 10 favorite eyeshadow palettes, I've been loving the Smoky Quartz palette from Tom Ford. That is like a solid cream quad. I've been using that pretty much all year. And now that I have these cream eyeshadows from Lisa Eldridge, the more that I'm using cream eyeshadow, the more I'm loving it. I'm loving that it's no fuss and it's so easy to blend out, way easier than powder shadow. And it's almost making me a little lazy in my eyeshadow game because it's just so easy to grab a brush, throw it in the crease, and I'm good to go, right? So I have been loving these palettes from Lisa Eldridge. The more that I use them, the more I'm loving them. 10 out of a 10, especially, I think still for me, Vega is perfection. I love these. Last but certainly not least, let's quickly talk about the Pat McGrath holiday collection. I have to be completely honest with you guys. I haven't really picked up this palette since I reviewed it. I just haven't picked it up. Nothing's wrong with it. I think this is a nice formula. It's just not really my color story as far as that goes. It's a little bit colorful. So because of that, I don't reach for it. So I can't really say that my opinion has changed since my review because I have not really used it since my video. But I have used this palette. This is the Bronze Bliss. So a couple weeks ago, my husband and I decided to go on a date, and I incorporated this palette with the Charlotte Tilbury Easy Eye Smoky, what's it called? The Easy Eye something. It's the cream quad. I'll put the picture up here because I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, I mixed those tones with this and it was stunning. And the waitress asked me, she's like, what are you wearing as eyeshadow? Your eyes are so beautiful. I was like, thanks. So I was all telling her all about how I was mixing and it was Charlotte Tilbury and Pat McGrath, and love this. It was so beautiful. I mixed these two shades right here and I put this on the lid and then put this over top. Oh, it was gorgeous. It was so pretty. But now on the other hand, this one I haven't used. So this one is the Nude Allure, and I really haven't used this one. I would say for me personally, the Bronze Bliss, it's nothing wrong with it. It's just kind of redundant as far as that goes. But the Bronze Bliss palette, that one I felt like it was a little more special and unique. And so I absolutely love it. So that's the list, you guys. That is my review updates video. Sound off down below. Have you guys been playing with any of these products? How are you guys feeling about them? I'm so curious. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me in today's video. Don't forget to come right back here tomorrow for day 8 of my 15 days of beauty. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys all in tomorrow's video. Love you. Bye.